Well, this one is kind of short, but it's the live albums. See, a lot of compilation albums come out years later, but I'm talking about in 1968. There was Elvis, the comeback special, they call it. Elvis NBC TV special, 1968. That came out, and it brought Elvis back. After all them silly films, they call them. They wasn't great now, I'll be honest. There's a couple of good ones, but that 1968 comeback, that brought him back to a really popular audience. It brought him back. He was like restarting his career. So when that came out, he decided to go on to do live performances. So he done from Memphis to Vegas, from Vegas to Memphis, 1969. Remember the International Hotel where he went and sang in 1970? By 1969, he went there first. Then this is one of my favourite albums. On Stage is just called Elvis on Stage, 1970. Because you had Pork Salad Annie, and you had unusual songs by different people, cover versions like Runaway, and he done Sweet Caroline too on one album, but a Neil Diamond song. But I don't know, was it on that album? It's a while since I listened to it on Stage, but I remember the sound was fantastic. Stereo, bass, all the musicians were great. And the next album, you wouldn't believe, That's the Way It Is. That was Elvis at his best. You see him live in 1970. He had so much energy. He jumped about the stage. Blue Suede Shoes, Pork Salad Annie, That's All Right Mama. In 1970, I think he was at his best. I'm not saying he slowed down 1973 for Aloha from Hawaii, but he didn't move as much, if you know what I mean. But in 1970, and That's the Way It Is, he was full of energy. He was top of his game. It's a pity they didn't record the next album on video. They just had the audio soundtrack from Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Gardens in 1972. Oh, it's a fantastic album. He was at his best in 1972. I always believed that Elvis was at the top of his game in 1972. I know Aloha from Hawaii, over 1 billion people watched it. That was his most popular concert. But I thought 1972, he was at the top of his game. And of course, we're talking about his most famous album, because over 1 billion people seen it via satellite. It was called Aloha from Hawaii via satellite, 1973. Fantastic. I know they found footage from Madison Square Garden. Someone had a camcorder, an 8mm camera. They got some footage. They must get that restored with AI, but they didn't get the whole concert, but they got a lot of it. Why wasn't that recorded with video? I can never understand. And the next album is the same. Well, we had Aloha from Hawaii, I said that, 1973, but after that, in 1974, we had Elvis recorded live on stage in Memphis. I remember the album cover was a picture of his house in Graceland. That was the cover. And I remember I was reading, they were talking about what kind of cover will we use. Will we use a picture of Elvis? And one fellow said, no, just take a picture of the house, because that's where the concert is in Memphis. So yeah, it was a good idea. He took a picture of Graceland and he put it on the Elvis album, recorded on stage in Memphis, 1974. I thought that was a really good album. Now, the recordings are really good. His last live album was Elvis in Concert, 1977. And you know something? I looked everywhere. I seen the full concert. You can see it on YouTube. But the quality is not 4K or HD. Why wasn't that recorded in high quality? It's kind of like a low quality video, but the album is pretty good quality. I don't understand. What was the cameraman doing? I reckon they have footage, 4K of that concert, but they're not giving it out. But what we got on YouTube or on CD, it's not the highest quality, if you know what I mean. It's watchable. You can watch it. You can hear it. Well, he always sang well. He sang great in it, yeah, of course. He done a great album. We'll do compilation albums next, but that was all Elvis's live albums. Of course, they brought out more albums since. They dug up some bootlegs and all that stuff, but I'm just giving you the major albums from the 70s that were released. I don't know what they released in the 80s and the 90s. They came up with new stuff and all that, but I'm just trying to, as the albums are recorded and what was released, that's what I'm reading out. That's what was out at the time. The 68 comeback special, you know, Vegas and Madison Square Gardens and then Hawaii, via satellite. That's what the live albums he did in the 70s, you know. I don't know what happened after that. They dug up some material. So that'll do for now. That's the live albums.